Hello, when you start on Farming Simulator 25 on a new map, usually one of the basic things you're going to deal with are the three basic grains. In this field we have wheat, we have barley, and we have oats. So what I'm going to do is talk real quick about these three types of crops, how to do them, how much yield you get per acre, how much money, what you can do with them, and there you go. So here we go. Let's get started. Okay, when you start a new map, chances are you're going to have a header like this. It's a grain type header, and it allows you to do the grain type crops. I'm just talking about the main three today that make straw. So what you got to do first, we're going to jump in here and we're going to harvest this barley. Now before you get started, you want to go to your help menu up there. Look at the top left. And if you're playing with a controller, it's LB and then the cross button. You're going to hit the right of that. Enable straw swath. So what I want to do is enable that. You want to collect the straw from these three crops because they make you a lot of money. That's a big part of your profit is the straw. And then if you have animals, you can use it for that too. So you can see it's making a straw swath here. And then you go back and you pick that up. And there's a couple of ways we're going to look at how to do that. All right, we have harvested our field. Check that out. Now what it left is these little rows of straw. That's not hay, that's straw. You got a couple of options, the way to pick that up. The first option is called a forage wagon. If you go down to where you see grassland, okay, and go over, that's where the forage wagons are. This is the cheapest one. $30,500, holds 16 cubic meters, and you need 60 horsepower to pull that. They also have these other ones that you can get. All right, now caveat with this, there's not, usually on the maps, there's not a place to store this. You have to lower the pickup, turn it on, you're going to pick up the straw there. Now if you're using a forage wagon for straw, there's no way to store the loose straw. You can put it in your animal pens if you have that. But what I recommend if you want to do that is get something like this. It's a multi-fruit silo, and it allows you to store straw. So what I'm going to do is dump it into there. And I'll show you another way to do it here in just a minute. Okay, now the second way to pick up straw, other than a forage wagon that we used over there, is a baler. Let's look at the menu real quick. Okay, if you go down under baling, you have two types. You got square balers. They're going to make square bales, and you can see the dimensions down there. And then you got round balers. Okay, the one I have here is this one. It's a round baler. And then some balers can bale and wrap. They can turn it into silage also as you go, like that one. Okay, so if you're doing grass. But right now we're just doing straw, so we have this one. When you get in there, you can change the size of the bale. The default is going to be small. Okay, if you're using a controller, you can change the size of the bale by pressing in on the right joystick. I'm going to set it to the largest size, which is 180 centimeters. So it's going to take a minute to make a bale. Now, if you're just storing it, that's probably better. If you're using it to mix TMR, you might want to do a smaller one based on your container. It really depends on what size you might need. I have a video on making TMR. And on the small green one, I use 125 centimeter bales of straw. The bigger one's going to be a little different. When you get close to your baler being full, it's going to beep. And you have an option of, depends on the baler. This one I can either have it manually do it like I'm doing, or I can set it on automatic drop. Sometimes I like the manual only because I can control where it's going to drop. Okay, we've got our bales. We almost had a third bale. We're like at 96%, but just to show you, we got two bales here. The other one will come out next time we do bales. We'll have an extra one. So what you want to do is you got to pick those up. You could have a front end loader on your with a bell fork on your tractor and just move them around that way. Or if you go under baling, they have transport, and they got to, if you're using a front end loader, you can put it on a trailer. I like this automatic picker-upper there that I have here. So I'm just going to do that. You can see that's very easy to do. Picks up the bales, costs $50,000, and very easy to do. So there you go. All the bales are up. On these three types of products or crops, wheat, barley, and oats, they're going to generate what they call stubble. Okay, stubble. And what we're going to do is to get rid of that. Now, you don't have to do this, but it'll give you a couple of more percent yield. I think it's 2.5%. Okay, if you have a mulcher. So if you go to the menu, under cultivators, far to the right is going to be mulchers. And there's different sizes. I have this one because it's the best one for $21,000. You need 130 horsepower. It's the fastest, even faster than these bigger ones. So there you go. So once you have your mulcher hooked to your tractor, you just go to your field, and what it's going to do, it's going to grind the stubble down, and it helps improve your yield. Helps improve your yield. So I would do this before I cultivate it. There you go. Okay, we have mulched our field. It's all mulched. And next you got to use a cultivator like this. And once it's cultivated, you're going to use a seeder to plant wheat, barley, or oats back in the field. Or what I'm going to do is use a seeder that also cultivates, called a direct drill. This is the Horse Pronto 6DC. It's a mod. It was standard. It needs to be standard. So what we're going to do is use this to put wheat back in the field. And this particular one also fertilizes as it goes. So it's going to do a layer of fertilization. Okay, we've planted our wheat in this field. It's all done. Now, if you want to, you could roll the field. Okay, now let me show you on the menu because there's a couple of different kinds. Okay, check it out. There's one under grassland care. That is not the right kind of roller. That's only for grass. Okay, grass only. If you go down here to yield improvements, though, right to the right of weeds, you're going to see rollers. So any of these two types, they will work, and there's some mods out there too. And you don't have to do this. It's still going to work if you don't, but it does improve your yield just a little bit if you roll the field right after you seed it. Okay, we've planted our wheat here and gone to the next month, and now we have to fertilize it. And there you go. All right, our wheat is growing. It's been fertilized twice. There's no weeds, so all we got to do now is just wait for it to mature, and then we can harvest that. And there you go. So let me show you some numbers, how the wheat, the barley, and the oats came out financially. All right, for the wheat, we got 10,693 liters per acre. Okay, and that becomes significant in a minute when I talk about that. We got 13,000 and change for this field, and that works out to liters per acre and dollars per acre. So dollars per acre on the easy mode, we got 8,720. Okay, but the straw added another $3,237 per acre, for a total of $11,957 per acre on the easy mode. If you want to look at normal and hard, that's $7,174 on the normal mode, $3,986 on the hard mode. So you can see the straw there is about 25% of your income or profit from this field. So you're going to want to pick up the straw, you know, as soon as you can get a forage wagon or a baler or something. Okay, let's look at barley real quick. It's almost the same, 11,591. The liters are a little more. Okay, the straw is the same. That means $13,100 we got for this field, 77.27 liters per acre, and that works out to 8,733 for just the barley on the easy mode, or 11,970, pretty much identical to wheat as far as money goes. But take note of that liters per acre. I'm going to show you that It's going to be significant here in a minute. Okay, let's look at oats. Oats, the liters per acre was a lot less at 6,849. Okay, but your dollars, 13,226. So your liters per acre is less, but your dollars per acre is really close to the same. The total there with the straw is $12,054. So all three of these are very, very similar as far as money goes per acre. What's going to be different is what you can do with the product once you get it. Now, if you're just selling it, okay, they're going to be very similar. So you just, look at your growth calendar and do what you need to do. However, if you're putting them into production, let's take a look at that. Okay, all three, wheat, barley, and oats, will make straw as a byproduct. And you can either sell that or you can use it with cows or pigs to help make manure. And you can sell the manure. So you can actually put the straw into production and make more money than just selling the straw, turning it into manure. One of the first ways to put some of these crops into production is going to be chickens. Okay, chickens. And you can use wheat and barley for feed for chickens. Wheat and barley. You cannot use oats. Okay, wheat and barley, food for chickens. Okay, for pigs, you can also use wheat and barley as the grain part of food for pigs. Wheat and barley, you cannot use oats. However, you can use oats for horses, okay, to feed horses, and you cannot use wheat or barley. So which one you plant might depend on what you plan on doing with it. Let's look at some other productions, factory type. Okay, one of the main productions you can use for all three of these, wheat, barley, and oats, is the grain mill. So you can put all three of these into the grain mill and increase your profit by making flour. Okay, another production point you can use is the cereal factory. It's not on all maps, but you can certainly build it and put it somewhere. The cereal factory, you can use only oats in there. It doesn't use wheat or barley. Cereal factory. Okay, so that's my video on wheat, barley, and oats, what you can do with it and how to grow it and how much you get per acre. So there you go. Now you can make a better decision on which one of these you want to grow and do on your farm and Farming Simulator 25. I'm Farmer Teacher. Share this with your farming buddies. I'll see you on the next go round. Bye-bye.